भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Chapter 14, Text 1. Shri Bhagwan Vacha Paramam Bhuya Pravakshami Jnanam Jnanamuttamam Yatyatva Munya Sarve Paramam Siddhim Ito Gata.
Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Again I shall declare to you the supreme wisdom, the best of all knowledge, knowing which all the sages have attained the supreme perfection."
Text 2. Idam Jnanam Upashritya Mam Sadharmyam Agataha सर्गे अपि नोपजायन्ते प्रलयेन व्यथयन्ति च.
By becoming fixed in this knowledge, one can attain to the transcendental nature like my own. Thus established, one is not born at time of creation or disturbed at the time of dissolution.
Text 3. मम योनिर्महद्ब्रह्मा तस्मिन् गर्भं ददामि अहं सम्भवा सर्वभूतानां ततो भवति भारत.
The total material substance called Brahman is the source of birth, and it is that Brahman that I impregnate, making possible the births of all living beings, O son of Bharata.
Text 4. सर्वयोनिषु कौन्तेय मूर्तया सम्भवन्ति या तासां ब्रह्ममहद्योनिः अहं बीजप्रदापिता पिता.
It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed giving father.
सत्वं टेक्स्ट 5 सत्वं रजस्तमा इति गुणा प्रकृति संभवा निबध्नन्ति महाबाहो देहे देहिनाम् अव्ययम्.
Material nature consists of three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. When the eternal living entity comes in contact with nature, O mighty armed Arjuna, he becomes conditioned by these modes.
टेक्स्ट 6 तत्र सत्वं निर्मलत्वात् प्रकाशम् अनामयम् सुखासंगेन बध्नाति ज्ञानासंगेन चानघा.
O sinless one, the mode of goodness, being purer than the others, is emanating free, frees from one all sinful reactions. Those situated in that mode by a sense of happiness and knowledge.
टेक्स्ट 7 रजोरगात्मकं विधि तृष्णा संगा समुद्भवम् तन्निबध्नाति कौन्तेय कर्मसंगेन देहिनम्.
The mode of passion is born of unlimited desires and longings, O son of Kunti, and because of this, the embodied living beings is bound to material fruitive actions.
टेक्स्ट 8 तमस्त्व अज्ञानजं विधि मोहनं सर्वदेहिनां प्रमादालस्य निद्राभिः तन्निबध्नाति भारत.
O son of Bharata, know that the modes of darkness born of ignorance is the delusion of all embodied living beings, entities. The result of this mode are madness, indolence, and sleep, which bind the conditioned soul.
टेक्स्ट 9 सत्वं सुखे संजयति रजा कर्माणि भारत ज्ञानम् आवृत्य तु तमा प्रमादे संजयति युता.
O son of Bharata, the mode of goodness conditions one to happiness, passion conditions one to fruitive action, and ignorance, covering one's knowledge, binds one to madness.
टेक्स्ट 10 रजस्तमस् चाभिभूय सत्वं भवति भारत रजा सत्वं तमश्चैव तमः सत्वं रजस्तथा.
Sometimes the mode of goodness becomes prominent, defeating the modes of passion and ignorance. O son of Bharata, sometimes The mode of passion defeats goodness and ignorance, and at other times, ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition for supremacy.
Text 11. सर्वद्वारेषु देहेऽस्मिन् प्रकाश उपजायते ज्ञानं यदा तदा विद्यात् विवृद्धं सत्त्वम् इति युता.
The manifestations of the mode of goodness can be experienced when all the gates of the body are illuminated by knowledge.
Text 12. लोभा प्रवृत्तिरारम्भा कर्मणाम् अशमा स्पृहा रजसि एतानि जायन्ते विवृद्धे भरताशभा.
O chief of Bhartas, when there is increase in the mode of passion, the symptoms of great attachment, fruitive activity, intense endeavor, and uncontrollable desire and hankering develop.
Text 13. अप्रकाशो अपवित्तिश्च परमा प्रमा प्रमादो मोह एव च तमसि एतानि जायन्ते विवृद्धे कुरु नन्दन.
When there is an increase in the mode of ignorance, O son of Kuru, darkness, inertia, madness, and illusion are manifested.
Text 14. यदा सत्त्वे प्रवृद्धे तु प्रलयं याति देहभृत् तदोत्मा विदां लोकान् अमलान् प्रतिपद्यते.
When one dies in the mode of goodness, he attains to the pure higher planets of the great sages.
Text 15. राजसी प्रलयं गत्वा कर्म संगीषु जायते तथा प्रलीनस्तामसी मूढा योनिषु जायते.
When one dies in the mode of passion, he takes birth among those engaged in fruitive activities. And when one dies in the mode of ignorance, he takes birth in the animal kingdom.
Text 16. कर्मणा सुकृतस्याहुः सात्विकं निर्मलं फलं रजसस्तु फलं दुःखम् अज्ञानं तमसा फलम्.
The result of pious action is pure and is said to be in the mode of goodness. But action done in the mode of passion results in misery, and the action performed in the mode of ignorance results in foolishness.
Text 17. सत्त्वात् सञ्जयते ज्ञानं रजसो लोभ एव च प्रमादा मोहो तामसो भवतो ज्ञानम् एव च.
From the mode of goodness, real knowledge develops. From the mode of passion, greed develops. And from the mode of ignorance, develop foolishness, madness, and illusion.
Text 18. ऊर्ध्वं गच्छन्ति सत्त्वसत्स्था मध्ये तिष्ठन्ति राजसा जागन्यगुणवृत्तिस्था अधो गच्छन्ति तामसा.
Those situated in the mode of goodness gradually go upward to the higher planets. Those in the mode of passion live on the earthly planets, and those in the abominable mode of ignorance go down to the hellish world.
Text 19. नान्यं गुणेभ्यः कर्तारं यदा दृष्टानुपश्यति गुणेभ्यश्च परमं वेति मद्भावं स्वधिगच्छति.
When one properly sees that in all activities no other performer is at work than these modes of nature, and he knows the Supreme Lord who is transcendental to all these modes, he attains my spiritual nature.
Text 20. गुणान् एतान् अतीत्य त्रीन् देहि देहा समुद्भवान् जन्म मृत्यु जरा दुःखे विमुक्तो अमृतम् अश्नुते.
When the embodied being is able to transcend these three modes associated with the material body, he can become free from birth, death, old age, and their distresses, and can enjoy nectar even in this life.
Text 21. Arjuna vacha कैर्लिङ्गे स्त्रीन् गुणानेतान् अतीतो भवति प्रभो किम् आचरा कथं चेतां स्त्रीन् गुणान् अतिवर्तते.
Arjuna inquired, O my dear Lord, by which symptoms is one known who is transcendental to these three modes? What is his behavior and how does he transcend the modes of nature?
Text 22 to 25. श्री भगवानुवाच प्रकाशं च प्रवृत्तिं च मोहम् एव च पाण्डव न द्वेषति सम्प्रवृत्तानि sorry न निवृत्तानि काङ्क्षति उदासीनवद् आसीनो गुणैर्यो न विचाल्यते गुणा वर्तन्त इति एवं यो अवस्थिति नेङ्गते समदुःखा सुखा स्वस्था समलोष्टाश्मा काञ्चना तुल्या प्रिया प्रियो धीरास् तुल्या निन्दात्मा संस्तुति माना अपमान्योस्तुल्यास् तुल्यो मित्रारिपक्षयो सर्वारम्भा परित्यागी गुणातीता स उच्यते.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O son of Pandu, he who does not hate illumination, attachment, and delusion when they are present or long for them when they disappear, who is unwavering and undisturbed through all these reactions of the material qualities, remaining neutral and transcendental, knowing that the modes alone are active, who is situated in the self and regards alike happiness and distress, who looks upon a lump of earth, a stone, and a piece of gold with an equal eye, who is equal toward the desirable and the undesirable, who is steady, situated equally well in praise and blame, honor and dishonor, who treats alike both friends and enemy, and who has renounced all material activities. Such a person is said to have transcended the modes of nature.
Text 26. Text 26. Mamyo mam chayo avabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatittetan brahma bhuyaya kalpate.
One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at one transcend the modes of material nature and thus come to the level of Brahman.
Text 27. Brahmano hi pratishtaham amritasya vyayasya cha shashvatasya cha dharmasya sukhasya ekantikasya cha.
And I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, and is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness.
ओम तत्सत इति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीता उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्म विद्याया योग शास्त्रे श्री कृष्ण अर्जुन संवादे गुणत्रय विभाग योगो नाम चतुर्दशो अध्याय. थैंक यू. हरे कृष्णा.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Thank you very much, Rasalila Srimati Mataji. Very, very nicely recited in Sanskrit. Very fluent. Thank you. And Girish Prabhu, very eloquent English. Nice. Thank you, both of you. Hare Krishna. So let me just share my PowerPoint now. Okay. So we're continuing the reading from chapter 14, another technical chapter. This last section of Bhagavad Gita, as we discussed, starting from 13, that is Jnana Yoga. So each chapter has got some technicality and needs to sort of needs attention. So it's very nice, very, very relishable. So we'll do the chapter summary so far. The three modes of material nature, that's the title. So text 1 to 4, Krishna spoke about the liberation and conditioning of the living entities. And then from 5 to 9, this current section that we're reading, how the modes bind the pure soul. So we literally speak, Krishna is explaining how the mode, how the soul comes in contact with nature and becomes conditioned. So in the 13th chapter, Krishna was explaining about Purusha, Prakriti, its enjoyer, and the body and all that. And especially in verse 22, he said that the reason why the living entity suffers is because of his connection with the modes of nature. So now then he's spending this whole chapter explaining that verse 22 about how this connection of the soul and the modes happen. So today's verse is 6. Yesterday, Sutta Prabhu didn't do any verse. We just spoke about book distribution. So, and I think on Tuesday it was Madhu Kumari who did 5. So we'll do 6 today. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Chapter 14, text 6. Tatra Sattvam Nirmalatvat Prakashakam Anamayam Sukha Sangena Badnati Jnana Sangena Chanaga. O sinless one, the mode of goodness, being purer than others, is illuminating, and it frees one from all sinful reactions. Those situated in those situated in that mode become conditioned by a sense of happiness and knowledge. So from this verse onwards, so for 6, 7, and 8, I believe, Krishna will explain each mode. So here he's trying to explain to us the mode of goodness. So Sukha Sangena Badnati Jnana Sangena Chanaga. So as we will understand as we go deeper into this chapter, that whether it's goodness, passion, or ignorance, they all bind us in different ways. And here in this verse, Krishna explains that mode of goodness binds us with sukha sangena badnati, and jnana, sukha and jnana, so happiness and knowledge. These two things become a bondage for us. So it's the attachments. Basically, it's not the knowledge or the happiness itself that binds us. It is our attachment to those two that binds us. So that's important to understand. We'll go through the purport. It's 2 paragraphs, so we will go take one devotee each. Let's see who is here. So I've got, okay, so Gokul Chandra here is for the first time. So perhaps Gokul Chandra Prabhu, you can read this first paragraph.
Yes, okay. Purport. The living entity conditioned by material nature are of various types. One is happy, another is very active, and another is helpless. All these types of psychological manifestations are causes of the entity's conditioned status of nature. How they are differently conditioned is explained in the section of Bhagavad Gita. The mode of goodness is first considered. The effect of developing the mode of goodness in the material world is that one becomes wiser than those otherwise conditioned. A man in the mode of goodness is not so much affected by material miseries, and he has a sense of advancement in material knowledge. The representative type is the Brahmana, who is supposed to be situated in the mode of goodness. This sense of happiness is due to understanding that in the mode of goodness, one is more or less free from sinful reactions. Actually, in the Vedic literature, it is said that the mode of goodness means greater knowledge and a greater sense of happiness.
Thank you, Gokul Chandra Prabhu. And then let's see who else I can see here. Chandra Chaitanya Prabhu, are you there? If you can read the second paragraph.
Yes, Prabhu, you want me to read that?
Yes, please.
Thank you. The difficulty here is that when a living entity is situated in the mode of goodness, it becomes conditioned to feel that he is advanced in knowledge and is better than others. In this way, it becomes conditioned. The best examples are the scientist and the philosopher. Each is very proud of his knowledge, and because they generally improve their living conditions, they feel a sort of material happiness. This sense of advanced happiness in conditioned life makes them bound by the mode of goodness of material nature. As such, they are attracted towards working in the mode of goodness, and as long as they have an attraction for working in that way, they have to take some type of body in the modes of nature. Thus, there is no likelihood of liberation or of being transferred to the spiritual world. Repeatedly, one may become a philosopher, a scientist, or a poet, and repeatedly become entangled in the same disadvantages of birth and death. But due to the illusion of the material energy, one thinks that that sort of life is pleasant.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Chela Chaitanya Prabhu. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Ajnanati Mirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurung Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapradantikam Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Charu Swaminite Namine Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminite Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So interesting purport, to the point as so many nice points Prabhupada brings in this. So as usual, we will just go through some of the main points that we pick up from the purport. Prabhupada says first off that the living entities conditioned by material nature are of various types. So he mentions these types of living entities. One type is happy. So that type of living entity, can you guess which mode that living entity is under?
Goodness.
Goodness, very good. Mode of goodness. Next is very active.
Passion.
Absolutely. Next is helpless.
Ignorant.
So let me just mute. Okay. So yeah, so it's straightforward, right? So when, of course, in the mode of goodness, generally speaking, as Prabhupada says in the purport, everything generally goes well, even though it's still material goodness, you still are generally happy. Mode of passion naturally makes you just want to do things. You want to progress in life, whether it's studying, whether it's business, whether it's a job, a promotion, whatever. That just mode of passion drives all those people. Or then there's, of course, mode of ignorance, helplessness. They're basically, they haven't got a passion, they haven't got the goodness. So they're just, chugging along, almost, treading water, as they say, going along with life with not much urgency, not any enthusiasm. So that is mode of ignorance. So Prabhupada says, source of happiness is the mode of goodness. So how does the goodness come? So more or less is because it's free from sinful reaction. So whenever we are in the mode of goodness, the example can be, for example, when we come to Krishna consciousness, we start to follow the four regulative principles. So whenever as soon as we start following the four regulative principles, no meat eating, no fish, no eggs, no intoxication, no gambling, no illicit sex, automatically our life becomes without sin. So our sinful reactions stop, slow down at least. So that automatically brings happiness. So that, because by following the four regulatory principles, we are moving ourselves to the mode of goodness. And goodness also gives us greater knowledge. The mind opens up in the mode of goodness. So we're able to gain more knowledge. So the effects of developing the mode of goodness, Prabhupada is then mentioning these things in the purport. So somebody in the mode of goodness is generally wiser than those otherwise conditions. So people in passion and ignorance, they may be expert at doing certain things, but the person in the mode of goodness will be wise in the true sense. Because we can imagine a person in the mode of passion, he may take actions in the rush because he wants to get somewhere so quickly in terms of his targets or whatever, and he will make mistakes. Whereas a person in the mode of goodness is more calm. You consider things more carefully, and that's where he's wise. Then he's not much affected by material miseries, as we discussed earlier, because you're in the mode of goodness. You are not affected by the material miseries so much. And he has a sense of advancement in material knowledge. So we're not talking spiritual knowledge. In the mode of goodness, you still have, you feel that you're advancing in your knowledge. So Prabhupada says that a representative type is the Brahmana, who is supposed to be situated in the mode of goodness. So Brahmana is considered there. So a Brahmana with not Brahmana by birth, not just a caste Brahmana, but a Brahmana who is like behaving like a true Brahmana. So that he will be in the mode of goodness. And we know of course, nowadays we have Brahmana families where, there's even meat cooked in the house. So we don't mean like that. Brahmana here, whenever we speak about Brahmanas, we talk about practicing Brahmanas. So these kind of Brahmanas, Brahmajanati Brahmana. So people who are involved in some kind of devotion, not particular devotion service, but at least some kind of regulative life. So they are, oops, what happened here? I went back. Next, just 1 second. I lost my screen here. I just touched the button on my keyboard and everything went crazy. Let me just share that again. So then where is my screen? Something's gone wrong on my side. Hold on, sorry devotees, just give me a second. Let me just try and work this out. Okay, that's more like it. Let me just go back again. Right, so we're going to start from, give me a second till I get to the next page. I hit escape by accident. He just stopped sharing, stopped the slideshow. Yeah, so we covered this, and we also covered all this. And the Brahmana we were speaking about, yeah. So it's Brahmajanati Brahmana. So Brahmanas are considered to be in the mode of goodness. So then next, Prabhupada is saying that the difficulty here is that when a living entity is situated in the mode of goodness, he becomes conditioned to feel that he is advanced in knowledge and he is better than others. So this superiority complex creeps in, right? So in the mode of goodness, there's a sense of happiness. We already covered this, satisfaction, knowledge, and superiority. This is what starts to then be a negative situation, because you are holier than thou, I am better than you. That kind of feeling starts to come in. And the result of that kind is so there's no impetus to take the spiritual life. Why? Because of this complex, he's too happy and satisfied to do what Krishna wants to do. When you read Bhagavad Gita, Krishna gives instructions. But these people, even if they read the Bhagavad Gita, they feel so superior, they feel that they don't need to take any of these instructions. They're hard to be humble. It's hard for them to be humble. Why? Again, because they have this sense of superiority. Because humility is a prerequisite for progress in devotional service. We know that unless we are humble, we're not able to absorb anything. The way in the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, it is explained how do we approach a spiritual master? Anybody? 4th chapter. How are you supposed to approach a spiritual master?
Submissive and service.
Exactly. What is the verse?
Tadvidi pranipatena.
Yeah.
Pariprashna Sevaya.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Pranipatena, which means humble. We should be, unless there is humility, our heart will not soften. And yesterday, Sutta Prabhupada was explaining about softening of the heart, right? Devotional service, especially when we do book distribution, stuff like this, the heart softens. Even the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra makes the heart softer. So heart softens, and this is necessary. But when you do not have humility, the heart will not be soft. So that's why they can't make progress in spiritual life. Hard to learn. Why? Again, because the I know mentality, the overconfidence, the superiority complex. Tamal Krishna Maharaj was saying once that in the early days when he joined Prabhupada, he was quite a senior devotee. Even he was one of the most trusted devotees of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada used to often discuss things with him. And some people have, I'm saying right? So some people have a habit of saying I know. So when you speak to somebody, just say, even before you finish a sentence, the person will say, I know. So it's just people do it by habit like that, just in the conversation. So Tamal Krishna Maharaj was saying that he had that habit, and he was, so Prabhupada, whatever Prabhupada was saying, he was going saying, I know, Prabhupada, I know. At one point, Prabhupada stopped. He says, Tamal Krishna, I'm not going to tell anything to you. And then he was looked, why Prabhupada? He said, because you know everything. I don't need to tell you anything. So I know, I already know. So I also know some people in my life actually who, whatever you say, they not just do they know, but they know better. This is their mentality. And in Gujarati we say, Maro kako sacho. I don't know whether you that verse that phrase you people use, but whatever I say is right because I know better, kind of thing. So all these things. So goodness, as we all think that to be in the mode of goodness, of course, is very good. It's better than passion and ignorance. But here are the little problems also, not little problems, big problems also in the mode of goodness. Yeah, and this is why when we say to people that in this material world, even the mode of goodness is not actually favorable for us. We need to transcend. And later on in this chapter, as we go on, we will learn more about that. Then Prabhupada is saying this sense of advanced happiness is in conditioned life makes them bound by the mode of goodness to the material nature, right? So that's because there are of these things we spoke about, there's less likelihood of their liberation or being transported to the spiritual world, because they're less likely to listen to a spiritual master. So Prabhupada says repeatedly one may become a philosopher, a scientist, a poet, and repeatedly become entangled in the same disadvantage of birth and death. So you see, with the mode of goodness, one thing is good, that at least you will not glide down to a lower species. If you remain in the mode of goodness, at least you will probably get a human birth again, just by being in the, because you are more or less sinless, and you will probably be awarded a human body. Not only this, if you are really and really good situation, you may even get promoted to the higher planets. But the point is, what use is all that, right? Even if you're promoted to the higher planets, Shine Punya Martha Lokam Vishanti, 9th chapter 21. Etam Bhuk Pasvargolokam Vishalam, Shine Punya Martha Lokam Vishanti. Evam Tari Dharman Anupapanna, Gatagatam Kama Kama Labhante. So people who are enjoying, they may have been promoted to the spiritual life. They may be enjoying wonderful, amazing facilities up there. But the point is, as soon as those your stock of piety is finished, you come down again to the material world, back again to this. Prabhupada says here, the disadvantages of birth and death. But due to the illusion of material energy, they still think we're okay. They still think that that I'm fine, isn't it? We people just feel that everything is. Let me just silence my phone. It keeps beeping. 1 second. Whatever situation we are in, we feel that we're okay. What's wrong with it? Sometimes when you speak about the spiritual life to people, they will say, "I'm okay." One time, Prabhupada was giving a class in the USA, and he spoke about the fact that, if we're not careful in this life, we live a life like a dog. We will get a body of a dog next time. And one person, he was not a devotee, he was visiting, just listening to the class. He says, "So it's fine. What's wrong with the body of a dog?" Right? So this is what I mean. This is the ignorance. People don't realize that, you're going to go through 8.4 million species of life, and it's such a rare opportunity to have a human body where in the human life you have the intelligence to ask these questions and make your way out of this cycle of birth and death. They just are happy to go along in the body of a dog. There's a story of Narada Muni. Indra one time committed some offenses, and Narada Muni got very upset, and he cursed him to become a pig. So Narada Muni then took body of a pig, and then after a little while passed, Indra thought, okay, now he's paid enough for his fault. So he went to call him back. He said, "Now, okay, enough. You've done your penance. Now you can come back." So what does Indra say? Anybody knows? Yeah, of course, everybody knows. So what does Indra say?
Indra said, "I'm very
I'm
happy."
fine. I'm happy.
Exactly. Here's Indra. He's Indra with his wife, with his little kitties behind at the back. And Indra is saying, "I don't want to come. I've got my wife here. I got my piglets. I got my piggy friends. I'm enjoying eating stew. I'm happy here." So this is the situation. You see, we get so comfortable in the position that we are in. And that's also the arrangement of nature, right? Somehow Maya makes you feel that this is fine for you. You're okay here. Don't worry about it, right? And that way you don't make an effort to get out of this, right? But when you come to the human form, we realize that you forget the body of a pig, forget the body of a human being, even forget the body of a demigod. We don't even want to be Indra or a Brahma. We want to be out of here. That's the point. So we should not get comfortable, and we should not follow in the footsteps of this Indra in the pig's body to relish our piggish life that we have here. We don't realize it, what kind of life we have. But people in the spiritual world, they're looking down on us thinking, poor souls, why don't they come back to me? Why don't they listen to what Krishna is saying? So we need to listen to the sages, we need to read scriptures, and we need to make a determination that we want to definitely make the spiritual world our destination and not continue in this. So then in mode of goodness, the other thing that happens in the mode of goodness is tendency to become attached to rituals. So here there's a, you know, the story in the 10th canto, 23rd chapter. Krishna and Balram with cowherd boys. One time they were somewhere and they were hungry. So send the cowherd friends to, they said, go, there's some brahmanas over there. You can ask them for some prasad for us. Now these brahmanas were preparing for a sacrifice. So you see, they are so attached to the rituals of the sacrifice. When the cowherd boys went there, they said, you know, we need Krishna and Balram here. We are their friends, and we want some prasad, some food for them. They just said, go away from here. Don't you see we're busy? They are so busy preparing for the yajna that they forget, you forget the higher purpose. So tied to the rituals. So then they came back, saying that the Brahmana is saying no. So Krishna says, and Krishna was doing this just to test them, actually, just testing the Brahmanas and also testing their wives. Okay, so go to the wives. Now the wives, while the Brahmanas were preparing for the yajna, their wives were busy preparing the bhoga. Now bhoga, of course, is meant for the yajna. That was the plan. But as soon as they heard, they saw the boys, the cowherd boys, saying that Krishna and Balram are hungry, they want food, straight away they forgot about the yajna. They just took the pots and they arrived where Krishna and Balram were there, and they brought all kinds of savories and sweets and everything that was prepared for the yajna and offered. So here's the situation. So we in the mode of goodness, there's a tendency of just being attached to the rituals, which once again pulls you away, drags you away from the reality that we need to make our way out of here. Get away from the rituals, try and make spiritual benefit, try and make connections with devotees, try and make our way out of here. The mode of goodness, therefore, does not automatically guarantee realizing the absolute truth. This is one of my verses I like from the 5th chapter, which I have used before in these classes. King Rahugana is addressed by Jadbharat, and he's talking about how one can realize the absolute truth. Rahugana tatapasayati na chetyaya no, that's the wrong meter here. Always start with the wrong meter. Rahugana tatapasanayati na chetyaya nirvaparad grihadva na chandasa naiva jalagni surye vina mahatpadarajo bhishekam. Vina mahatpadarajo. Padarajo. Mahat means a great devotee, advanced devotee. Padarajo. What does that mean, anybody?
Dust of the feet.
Yes, thank you so much. Dust of the of Sandeep Prabhu, thank you. Dust of the lotus feet of the Mahat. And Abhishekam, that apostrophe, as we have discussed in the classes before, that apostrophe denotes a missing letter here. So it's Abhishekam, but because in Sanskrit, these are the rules that it missed there, so also it rhymes better. So Abhishekam, so Padarajo Abhishekam, taking the dust of the advanced devotees on our heads. This is the translation. Jadbharat is saying, my dear King Rahugana, unless one has the opportunity to smear his entire body, what to speak of putting it on our head, smear his entire body with the dust of the lotus feet of great devotees, one cannot realize the absolute truth. One cannot realize the absolute truth simply by observing celibacy, strictly following the rules and regulations of household life, leaving home as a vanaprastha, accepting sannyas, or undergoing severe penances in winter by keeping oneself submerged in water, or surrounding oneself in summer by fire and the scorching heat of the sun. So these are all the rituals, you see. There are many other processes to understand the absolute truth, but the absolute truth is only revealed to one who has attained the mercy of a great devotee. So devotees, we may be very proud of being situated in the mode of goodness. But the point here is that unless we do come in contact with a devotee. And what does it mean by taking the dust of a lotus feet? Anybody explain?
Taking the instructions from
Yes.
the devotee.
Thank you, Pamela Mataji. It is, yes, literally, of course, we should take the dust. Whenever wherever a Mahatma is passing, we should actually touch the floor and touch our head. So we're taking the dust, literally like that, we're taking the dust on our head. But the more sort of subtle meaning of that is that we should be taking his instructions to heart. So we may be in the mode of goodness for many lifetimes, but unless we do take this dust of the lotus feet of great devotee onto our heads, we will not make progress. And we will stay again in this rat race again and again. And we will glide from goodness to passion to ignorance. First of all, even the mode of goodness, by the way, even the mode of goodness in the material world is never pure, absolutely not. Even most of us can say, okay, we are in the mode of goodness, devotees are, but there is always a tinge of passion or ignorance there, always, right? Because if it was completely pure, we would then transcend. We would be in the spiritual world. It's called Suddha Sattva then. So the pure mode of goodness would take us. We will elevate us over the three modes, but we're not there. We're all here under the modes. So that means even in the mode of goodness, we have the contamination of the other modes. But to get transcendental, we need the association of transcendental people. That's the point. So it's 8:35. So we will stop here. Any questions, comments? Anybody?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Who was that? Sorry.
This is Mamta again. Sorry.
Oh,
Prabhu.
yes. Sorry, Mamta
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna. This is a stupid question, but it's just that obviously in the Gita we say we should have sama bhava, equal to everybody, every living creature in this world. I'm just coming back to the point where the man said, "Oh, I don't mind being a dog. That's okay."
Yeah.
Just only for argument's sake, I'm saying I'm not supposed to do that, but it just maybe in his mind, what's that? It's just a living being. So what? But here, when we are trying to say sama bhava, so everything you look at everyone as equal, like a plant or a small organism or an animal or a man. So we're equating everybody to be equal to man in that sense, isn't it? An animal or a man.
Yeah.
So on that context, he may be right. It's okay. Man is equal to animal. Animal is equal to a tree or a microorganism or anything. So how would we justify?
Okay, that very nice point. Thank you so much, Mamta Mataji.
Yeah.
It's like this: as an entity, as a living entity, there is no difference between the soul in me, in you, in everybody on this call, in Lord Brahma, and the little ant or the dog. So from that perspective, we are all equal, and we should also treat each other equally from that point of view, where we should see everybody from the point of the view of the soul. So then if everybody did that, nobody would be out killing other innocent animals. So that's one point. So yes, from that point of view. But then what we need to recognize is that by the arrangement of nature, the other living entities, they do not have the developed consciousness that the human beings have been given, right? So only in the human body, you have that developed consciousness. There is consciousness in everything, of course. The trees have consciousness. All the insects have consciousness. Of course, the animals have consciousness. But their consciousness has not been developed enough to ask these kind of questions, Athato Brahma Jigyasa. They don't know, they can't get a Jigyasa. Their nature is just eat, sleep, mate, and defend. That's all. And that's all that's supposed to do, actually, because they will then, by this law of evolution, they will eventually come to the point of a human body. And when they come to the human body, that is the gift where we have this intellect, the intelligence to do something about it, And then, yes, of course, at one sense, we see the dogs and all other living entities the same as from the soul level, but that doesn't mean that we will be happy to be in that body, because we have received this body, and now this is our chance to get out of here.
Okay, Prabhu. So when we look at the equation, human beings obviously, so human beings very, if we have more of tamas gun, maybe we could, because of ignorance, maybe we could be born in a lower yoni, but that means we would always be, as a human being, we always have consciousness. So we would always be in this level or superior, maybe if you're being good. Or, but with what will happen to the animal kingdom? Will they ever get a chance to elevate their consciousness?
Of course, absolutely, yes. So see, here, because we have the independence, and the human beings, of course, even the animals have independence. All the living entities have that minute independence that Krishna has given us. But the human beings, together with that minute independence, have also been given the intelligence to use it in the right way, right? Whereas the intelligence given to the animals is just enough intelligence for them. Where can I find food, right? For example, when a puppy is born, right? A puppy is born, and automatically it has the intelligence. That little intelligence it has where to look for my food. It'll know exactly where to go on the body of its mother.
Yes.
To suck milk. So that kind of basic intelligence they have, how to survive, how to eat, how to do all that, how to defend. But they don't have higher intelligence than that. So we have it, right? So, but animals, because of that, what they have been given is that they will transmigrate from one body to the other, and at one point they will come to the human body just by this nature of evolution automatically. They don't have to do anything about it. They will come to the human nature, human life, and once they come here, then what they do about their body, that about their life, about the time given to them, that is the importance. Now, we all have been given this time, 50, 60, 80, 90, 100 years, whatever we have been given here. We have been given this. And we have also been given the Shastra. We have also been given the access to sadhus. But if we turn a blind eye to them, if you turn a blind eye to the sadhus, if we don't take interest in the Shastras, then we are in danger, because then we're living an animal life. Eating, sleeping, differently.
Thank you, Prabhu. So only one final question. So basically, when we have, for example, I'm saying we have dogs who really do a lot of more work than human beings. They use their whatever smell and ability to catch crime and to do all the things.
Yes.
So would we call that as an elevation from the normal routine, and where human beings help them to do that? But then again, we somehow, I don't know, it has percolated through me that we should not keep any of these animals with us, because when we die, we are so attached to them that you might end up in that level the time of your death. So how do we I mean, it's like, I mean, I know it is all intertwined, but
nice question, Mataji. So there are two aspects to this. We, first of all, we're discouraged from keeping pets, because one is, like you mentioned, attachment, right? We don't want unnecessary attachment, like Bharat Maharaj had. He got attached to that deer, baby deer. And look what happened to him. He had to waste 2 more lifetimes before he went back. He was already qualified before he met that baby deer. But he fell back. So for that one reason is attachment, which you mentioned. The other reason, of course, is what is true for that reason is number one, if it depends on the kind of pet. If it's a dog or something, they're considered to be not clean. So they will be out, they will bring in stuff from the outside and all that, and they're not clean. So it is not in the mode of goodness to have a pet in the house from that point of view, from cleanliness point of view. So attachment, cleanliness, and there was one more thing that came to mind. Yeah, and time. Because if we have to look after the pet. You know, if you have a pet, you'll have to go and take him for a walk. You'll have to feed him, and we'll have to wash him, we'll have to clean him, you have to take him to the vet, all that. So, you know, unfortunately, our life is so short, Mataji, that we should not be wasting time like that. Whatever extra time we have, that we can spare from looking after ourselves and our family, we should be putting into Krishna. We should be putting into studying Shastra, into chanting, right? People go for a walk. Today, I was doing the calls, right? This morning, I was onto one of my cousins on the contact calling. And he spent the first 10 minutes speaking about his dog. So attached. He's speaking about the dog. He got hurt last week, and then we took him to the vet, and then my mom put haldi on him, and all that. So this kind of real attachment. I couldn't even speak to him about the Live to Give campaign. He wouldn't let me. He was talking about the dog. So this kind of attachment and the time that they are spending, it is So we're not saying, of course, we dogs are there and that they need looking after. But there are other people who will do it. We don't have to do it. I'm sorry, you're going to be a little bit selfish because this is life.
Yes.
We only have so much time, so we need to make sure we don't waste time. So
Yes.
there's 45 people here, and they may on this call. There may be some who are pet owners. So if you are, I'm so sorry. This is my view, and please don't take it seriously. Don't take it personally. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Sorry, Prabhu, for bringing up the question. Thank you.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's important sometimes to discuss these things.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Lovely class. My question is, this Prabhupada writes the example of mode of goodness is Brahmana. Brahmana is a person who will be studying spiritual knowledge and who will be apt in spiritual knowledge. Like in the olden times, they used to learn Shastra and would be very conversant in Shastra. Maybe some of the Brahmanas were proud, but some of the Brahmanas were poor as well because they were so much into knowledge and not into materialistic thing. But today's scientists, Prabhupada also mentioned scientists, philosophers, poets. But today's scientists, they are all materialistic, isn't it? They are very materialistic because Prabhupada also writes that they will improve their living conditions. So now today, if you see the intellectual class of people, they are intellectual in material knowledge. They are not intellectual in spiritual knowledge, and they are always after money and improving their standards of living. And also a lot of talk about social mobility and socioeconomic mobility. So it's always materialistic. Just today's worldview is about increasing money, and economic development is the kind of goal for them. So mode of goodness is actually not present there because they don't know any Shastra.
Absolutely right. Yes, they are completely there. The whole basis of life is material. The scientists, especially you mentioned, they just refuse to accept any higher authority. Everything is happening in the material world is to do with the matter, and there's nothing else beyond. So yes, they are trapped in this world of them. They may be very, very intelligent, and some of them, you may say that they may be also on the mode of goodness. Some of them may be vegetarians. They may be living a very pious life.
Some of them,
Yeah, they may be giving charity. All those things are very, very good. Yeah, so they may be in the mode of goodness. So we can't take that away from them. But that doesn't mean, as Prabhupada says in this purport, that doesn't mean that they can understand the absolute truth and try and make their way out of this. Because those same scientists, they will next life be given a birth according to their own karma.
Yeah.
And all their knowledge, all the expertise will be left behind.
Yeah, it's very confusing as well because when the terrorist attack happened in America, 9/11, there were many scientists and so many people involved to do that. So you have to have knowledge. So some of the scientists actually are using their knowledge and intelligence in destroying the world. So they are completely tamasic. They are intelligent, but it's very modes of nature are very mixed up. It's like intelligent but using it in the wrong way.
Yes, you're quite right. Intelligence goes across the modes. Intelligence is not only in the mode of goodness. Intelligence, you have ignorance, intelligence, and rajasic intelligence as well. People are very intelligent in their business, so that's intelligence. Yeah. And people in terms, like you mentioned, terrorists, very expert at working out how to do all these things, right? Yeah. How to manage to plot such amazing, destruction. That's just quite amazing. So yes, there is intelligence across the thing, but how they use the intelligence is important.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Anybody else? Great. Okay. So let me just one more slide. I think if I'm still there. Yeah, reminding everybody about these two books. Divinam Prabhu mentions them. When the Sun Shines, Banshore Prime Prabhu, and Our Family Business for Vaisheshika Prabhu. Special offer, both of them at 25 rather than 15 each. Good books to have. So just a reminder of that. We are normally we end our marathon on this day and tomorrow. So tomorrow will be the last day, I think, normally. So tomorrow is Gita Jayanti, everybody. So I hope you all got the link. Please do join. It's amazing to listen to these devotees recite the Bhagavad Gita. We have a chance to listen to all of the Gita, to come on and listen. But this marathon, the Live to Give campaign, Europe is taking it to the 7th of January. I'm not sure why, but we've decided we will take it to the 31st, right? In terms of our target, Divinam Prabhu told me this afternoon that we've hit 25,000, which is amazing. We've hit 25,000. As you know, our target is 35. So tomorrow's Yagya live, they will be encouraging people to sponsor. So hopefully we'll get a few more there. But yeah, so we've done quite well. And I know a lot of you took part. And I really, from the bottom of my heart, thank you all for supporting us, because without all of your efforts, we could have not done anything. So to do 25,000 Gitas in the last few weeks, so that means we got 25,000 souls who have access to this knowledge. Whether they'll open the book or not, that's fine. They will lie in the shelf sometimes, but eventually, Prabhupada says these books are like time bombs. They will work one day, somebody else will pick it up. But hopefully we'll have so many more devotees and so many more lives improved because of this. So thank you so much. We will continue with our contact calling, and we'll put the messages on whenever the calls are arranged till the 31st. So until then, devotees, have a safe time. Please be careful, look after yourselves, and pray for each other. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna.
Devotees.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.
So much.
Hare Krishna, everybody.
Hare Krishna, Jolly Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare
everyone.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you,
Hare
Rasini.
Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare